What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the vlog. Today we are inside of AWE, so it's going to be a little loud, but we are doing lighting upgrades on the C8 Corvette Z06. We're going to do part of it here and probably the other part of it at my house. So the first step is going to be tail lights, Euro tail lights. You guys, if you haven't seen this yet on a Seawolf Gray car, stay tuned. These things look awesome. We're going to swap them out today. Not super difficult. The bumper's already off because AWE's doing my exhaust, which will be a different video. But yeah, they required safety glasses for us to be back here. So we're going to do that. And yeah, something else too. A third brake light flasher from Paragon Performance. And I'll talk about where I got all this stuff throughout the video. But let's get into the taillights. So here we got the workers, I guess. But ultimately, we're just going to pop off a wire harness, disconnect the tail light, and then zip out a couple 7mm screws. Really super easy once you have the bumper off. Not really anything too crazy. So in this video, it's going to be kind of a bonus, we'll say, because this is a lighting video. We're doing 3 different lighting things, but we're also going to replace these grills right here with carbon fiber grills. Because we did all the RSC stuff, we got to match all the carbon flash to the carbon fiber. So those are coming out, as well as the tail lights, and then the third brake light flasher will go up there. And then there's one other lighting upgrade that we're going to do later. 7mm, there's a handful of them per tail light, and that's it. Literally, that tail light will come out right after you take those out. No magic here. And that's that. So we got DBM Racing and Dana. These guys are assisting. Wave, say hi to the camera. So this is the reason I'm changing these taillights, guys. Check these out. The Euro taillight. It's literally going to match the Seawolf Gray. It's going to look freaking awesome. Where's your? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that versus that. Heck yeah, man. It's going to be awesome. Then we just set that in there, pop in the electrical connector, hook everything back up, just the Christmas tree connector and some 7mm screws, and we're good to go, guys. I freaking love it. This is going to be so cool. Not only do they match the Seawolf Gray, but they actually have a couple different functions over OEM. Like the whole tail light is a turn signal instead of just the one section. The whole brake light part, it's sequential all the way across, so it's pretty cool looking. Now, you guys might ask why I didn't do this on the black one, and honestly it's because black cars look good with red tail lights, but the Seawolf Gray, just, there's nothing else red on the car, so it just doesn't work. But yeah, here's a sneak peek here, guys. That's gonna look freaking awesome. So removing the stock carbon flash grill, just kind of got to work the clips a little bit, but ultimately we're going to replace that with carbon fiber. There you go. Got that one clipped back in. GM and they're used to clips, man, I'll tell you what. There you go, look at that. So again, comparing that to the carbon fiber, obviously it's the same thing, only one is carbon fiber. I know, the kind of a letdown, but it's gonna look way better. And then we just pop them back on in that same spot, hook everything back up, we're good to go. So we got the tail lights done pretty much. We're going to be finishing those up, and then I'm going to show you how to install that third brake light flasher. And then one more thing we're going to be doing at home, but for you, it's not going to take too long. The drive home for me is a couple hours, but for you, it's going to feel like a couple seconds. All right, so the next step is going to be the third brake light flasher from Paragon. You can grab this stuff from my website, links in the description below. All we got to do is just disconnect this right here and kind of put this in the T section, basically. So we'll just pop that off, hook it into this one, safety tab on, and hook this side into the stock location. That's it. So third brake light flasher is installed, and it looks really cool. So yeah, super easy and out of the way. So tail lights are in, electrical connector's done. Carbon fiber pieces are in, electrical connectors all popped into place. Everything's ready to go on both sides. Carbon fiber pieces, of course, all this stuff will be in the description down below if you guys are interested. And then, of course, the third brake light flasher. And AWE is working on the exhaust currently. They're going to be popping these out, putting on some beautiful black tips. But ultimately, we're done back here. Tail lights, third brake light flasher. So we're going to get this bumper back on the car, and then when we get home, I'm going to do the third lighting upgrade, all of which are going to be super necessary. Trust me when I say this is going to look phenomenal when it's done. This is the old parts table. So chrome exhaust tips, if anybody wants those are going to be for sale. The carbon flash heat bezel or heat grill areas, and then of course the stock tail lights. Say bye to the red tail lights. If anybody wants any of this stuff, let me know. It's going to be sitting in my shed. But that's what happens when you work on cars. You got the parts table.
1 hour later.
So here it is, guys. Tail lights are on. Third brake light flashers in there. Carbon fiber heat vents. Look at those things. Freaking looking wild. Awesome look. Look at that. You need these on Seawolf Gray, in my opinion. It's freaking insane.
2 days later.
And lastly, on the lighting upgrade front is going to be up here, the side marker mirror lights. As you can see here, they are perfectly clear and they just flash on or off. Thanks to our friends over at Paragon Performance, now we have a tinted version that is also sequential. So we're going to go ahead and install these. They'll flash sequentially and have a more tinted look to kind of match everything else that's kind of blacked out looking on the C8 Z06. So first we got to do, take off the mirror caps to get access to the stock light in there, and then we'll pop this one in and put the mirror cap back on. So let's do it. So first step to gaining access to where we need to be here is we're going to have to pop the mirror off. So we can actually stick your fingers or a trim tool in between the mirror and literally just kind of pull it off, because it actually clips onto the back side. So it's just clips. You can easily, for the most part, easily pop it out. So you can see there, we didn't break anything, even though it sounded like we did, and all the clips are still intact. But ultimately, there's a bunch of clips in a circle here that go onto this area there. Now you can completely disconnect the mirror if you want, but we don't really need to do that. There's 2 clips up here that we're going to focus on, and that's going to help us remove the mirror cap. And those clips are right there and right there. And you got to be very careful not to break these. So ultimately what we're going to do with these is just very gently push them out of the way so that this mirror cap in the back here will pop off. And it's going to be really hard to film it, but you got to be really careful with these. These are very soft plastic and they will break. So just a clearer shot in there, you can see there's the clip up on the top is part of the actual mirror cap, and then the part on the bottom there is actually what you'll want to push down to allow that clip to slide backwards, basically, to allow us to remove the mirror cap up here. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm not going to be able to film it because it's so tight quarters in there, but you got to be very careful with a screwdriver or a pry tool. Now with the cap partially removed, you can see what I'm talking about. That clip part that you see there now stays behind even once you get the mirror cap separated. So don't break those. And now with the cap off, there's a couple screws here we're going to remove. There's a Phillips head here, one in here, and that might be it. And then we can get to the turn signal here. Go ahead and remove this one first. I know that one's for sure. It's holding on the actual turn signal. So we are going to take this one out too, it looks like. We're also going to take this screw out right here. This is going to kind of allow the front faceplate to come off. Coincidentally, this is how you would replace that front faceplate if you were to break those 2 tabs I was telling you earlier not to break. And then there's one Phillips head screw on the front side too, where we took the mirror out. Can't miss it. And this should come off. And now with that out of the way, we can pull this gently out of the way. And we can get it out like that. Now there is a connector right here. Just kind of pull it and it pops out. So here's a better look at the stock unit versus the tinted unit from Paragon. And this one is also sequential, like I said. So once this is installed, it's going to look more tinted. As you can see, it's a lot more clear. But more importantly, it's sequential, so it will kind of go with everything else we've done. So it's basically the same unit. The only difference is it has a pigtail power plug on it, so we'll have to plug this in and then wrap it up with some tape versus the other one kind of plugged into the unit itself. Otherwise, we'll install it the exact same way. Everything else is the same as far as the holes are concerned. So it should pop right back together. One thing you do want to keep in mind when reinstalling the new ones is they do have a polarity to them, so we'll ensure they're correct by plugging it in and then hitting the turn signal and then hitting the lock button or unlock. So yeah, didn't work, so thankfully we didn't go with our first guess there. So now we'll flip it, unlock again, and there you go. You can see the sequential feature there. But now we'll tape it up and start putting it back together. Okay, we got it taped up, so now we'll go ahead and work this back down into place and kind of slide it in. Just like that. So you can obviously see how much more tinted that is, but we'll show you kind of a final product here once we're all done. So we'll go ahead and put the screws back in, pop the cap back on, and we are good to go. All right, and that is that. So now we have sequential on the rear, along with a really nice gray that goes well with the Seawolf gray of the taillights. These are, of course, from c4perf.com. I'll link them in the description down below, guys. If you want to grab a set of these taillights yourself, you can. We also have the third brake light flasher, which I'll demonstrate for you. And then, of course, the newly installed sequential mirror turn signals that are also tinted. So really awesome brake lights and just lights in general upgrade on the C8 Corvette. So yeah, again, Paragon Performance for the third brake light flasher. You can actually grab them on my website. I'll link them in the description down below. c4perf.com for the taillights. And again, the sequential mirror lights also from Paragon Performance, but you can grab those on my website as well. Check out the link in the description down below, guys. You can grab all this stuff from my site or from c4perf.com. Big thank you to both of these companies for hooking me up with this stuff. It really, really, really helps elevate the car to the next level, in my opinion. So I am very pleased with the way this all worked out. Big thumbs up if you like the content, guys. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And as always, stay obsessed.